Hello everyone, I am the HalfWit Brit and this is Manor Lords, and today we're going to take a look at ale, because that is one thing that's certainly making my approval rating a little bit lower than it should be. Obviously nobody likes to be taxed, but we can definitely make this better. I mean, there's a couple of issues that we need to deal with, but ale will certainly make the level 2 buildings a little bit more happy. So as you can see, no tavern supply, so obviously not very happy about that. That's the only thing they're missing. But when we look over this side, they are missing access to food and clothing. So we have a marketplace here, and I have put a secondary granary here, which I'm hoping will sort of help this issue. We will need probably some form of access to clothing as well over here, but we'll deal with that in due course. We also need to harvest this field because it's at 100%, but we're in July. We have plenty of time to do that. Let's focus on ale. So what do we need for that? Well, we did do some trading in the last video. So if we scroll down here, we've got barley. We currently have 25. I've asked for 30, so we're a little bit on the poor side. We may also do something to rectify this a little bit later on as well. Bandit camps are not as plentiful as they were, so we're not getting much coin through that. So we have barley. That's the first problem. So what do we need next? Well, we need to drop into here and we need to get the malt house. But this needs fuel as well, so there's just something to bear in mind. I have the charcoal kiln. I've currently got 2 families working in here just to speed it up a little bit. As you can see, we have 7 months of fuel, but if we actually go and look in storage, you have a truckload of firewood. Let's have a look in here. Yeah, 231. That's absolutely immense. In fact, I don't even believe... Yeah, we have nobody working in the woodcutter lodge either. So yeah, we have a lot. We just need to get that firewood transported all the way over here to the charcoal kiln, which is why I've added the additional family. So we got some ploughing going on, obviously, probably in their back gardens. But then we have several people transporting. So hopefully that should double our fuel, which I guess in a sense should double how many months, roughly. That's just something to bear in mind. So where do I want to put this? Well, we want to put it somewhere near where the brewery is going to be. So the brewery will be in a level 2 house. We do have a spare one here. But then the next question is, where are we going to put the tavern? Now, I've started to deforest this little area here because I like the idea of the tavern being sort of close to the church and also close to the manor. And I feel like it's fairly central to what's going on, so we'll definitely build the tavern here. Also, the goods coming in for this building will be at this trading post. So I feel like realistically it needs to be somewhere like here, and we could potentially have one of these as a level 2 and just keep things in a very close sort of area rather than having one of these over here and be the brewery. So I think we're going to lose a tree doing this, but it should be fine. So we'll drop that in there. This incessant rain, it's the middle of summer, and I think it's based in Germany, this game, but it certainly feels like it's in England, that's for sure. So the next thing we need is this one under the residential tab? It certainly is. So we need the tavern. Now if I've deforested enough trees here, yeah, it's given us a little bit of space to work with. Let's try and get this on sort of as flat a piece of land as possible. I think that'll work nicely. While I think about that, because that's the logging camp that was dealing with this, let's just change where they're currently foresting. Now this is being regrown. We don't want to bother with this. We'll be very careful sort of here. If I remember rightly, there's a little bit of green fertility here, so it looks like I've already had them working here at some point. Are we doing okay for timber? Oh, we are, you know. Actually, change of plan. We'll remove someone from there. It gives us a spare person, which we will need very soon. This logging this logging camp has 3 families in, so we'll drop another one out of there, because that means we're going to need 2, one for the malt house, one for the tavern. And I think we'll probably upgrade this one to level 2. They've not got much space in the back area to do much else, so it'll probably sort of work, and it'll just make, just sort of coming through here, oh, look at that view of the birds flying over. Yeah, I think that'll just work. It'll make it look a little bit better as you're going up. Obviously, I do want to put the walls in here at some point. So yes, that's all set up. We'll let that do its thing. The other thing I mentioned was the regional wealth. So obviously we are doing a little bit of trade. Planks is the main thing. We're only getting 2 per plank, and I'm telling it that I want to have 20. But we definitely have some surplus in there that we can use. I've also decided to trade, well, we're importing obviously barley, which is quite expensive, so we need to consider that. But I am exporting some of the berries as well, because we always seem to have an awful lot of them. So because they're kind of going for random food sources in the experimental patch rather than an explicit list. I think berries was second on that list. We now have quite a lot of surplus, so it just makes sense just to trade some of those out. Apples, I think, is it on this one? Where are we? Yes, herbs. I don't think we need these, so I've set that as a desired surplus as 0, so we'll just sell those on. I don't think we're trading anything else out. Wooden parts is certainly something I could do, and we don't need to pay for the root. I think tools, yes, so root required, so I could make them and trade them, but obviously 300 coin is not something that I want to be sort of trying to spend, especially when I don't have it. So I guess the main thing we can go for is planks initially. We're going to do some work on that in this episode. I mean, fairly simple stuff, but we'll get that going potentially. So these import export price is 5 for wooden parts and planks is 2. So the question is, if we go over to the joiner's shop, does it tell us? So that needs 2 planks to make one wooden plot. I don't know what's wrong with my English today. Wooden plot. I'm just incessantly making up new words constantly. So what do we get here? So we get 4 per 2 that we sell, and we get 5. So technically it probably makes more sense, rather than selling out planks outright, to actually make wooden parts and sell those, because you get the extra silver. So something to think about. However, we can't deforest the entire map, so this sort of area we have to be mindful of. Here we have to be careful of. You know, in fact, let me just double check my forester's hut, because we did take some trees away from here by mistake. So if we sort of relocate that to this sort of area, hopefully we should get some trees back there. We do have all this forest, so we could technically go that direction. But just thinking about, wow, actually they've removed all these trees ready on this bit of farmland. There's quite a lot going on here. But we do have the logging camp here, and we have this huge forest. And we also have the stone deposit, which I want to work on, but I think we're going to use this. So what I'm thinking of doing, I guess I've got 2 options. So the forester's hut, which I just had a second ago, where is it? I've lost it. Oh, there it is. I'm going to leave that here. I was tempting sort of to move it over here, because this land I'm not going to use for anything, so I want to plant a forest. And it, just so while this one's being chopped down, we have another one growing. To me, it makes a little bit of sense, and we can keep that sort of circle of life going. So if I put a forester's hut, I think we'll put it closer to the town. It depends where we're going to go with this wall. I think we might, I don't know if you can see it, it's very faint, but there is a little line there, so I think I may build a road around that, and then we'll have the fence a little bit higher up. So potentially this road would be fine. So we'll chuck that in there. That's done. Again, we have the logging camp here. May want to relocate it more this way, but for the moment it's fine. We will also need a saw pit over here, and then potentially the joiner's shop, which is currently disabled because we don't need any more stuff. We can either leave one here and have it making some shields, which we could sell later on, or we can have another one over here as well, and that could be making those, I'm going to call them cogs, because I'm just going to say what I see, but it's, is it parts? Wooden parts, there we are. So there's a lot of options, but I just need to build this up a little bit. Also, I'm gassing a lot today. We need to start thinking about farming over here. Now, bearing in mind the time of the year, we're in July, so autumn is September to November. We're not going to get anything done realistically over there this time of the year. And if we have a closer look, we have a granary and we have a windmill, and restoring these is cheaper than building them outright. We also have a berry deposit and some wild animals all within that same area. So when it comes to building the settlers camp, which costs 250, is that my wealth? Yeah, that's my wealth, so that's fine. I feel like it needs to be in here somewhere. Because we've got that. Now the King's Road, does it directly connect to us? If I zoom out, it's a little bit easier. There we go. So that's the road that we'd be using. Now we can put our own road through there, but from a trade perspective, that's the way anything that we trade between the two towns will go. I mean, the other way is an incredibly long way around. So yeah, there's something we need to bear in mind. Work area is empty. Is that the berries? Are we at that time of the year? Probably. Let's take someone out. We will need them. Again, look at the... just got tons of the things. How are we doing for charcoal? Nothing stored inside. That's dropped to 6 months now. That's a little bit worrying. I don't know what's going on there. We can see our apples are definitely coming through now. I think every tree. It's only been 2 years as well, I think. So that's really, really good. That's an extra bit of food. Well, apples is at 0 currently. Meat 47, veg 10. It looks like a lot of these are due to be harvested. So while we're waiting for those buildings to be built, I think we may as well take at least 3 of these families and get them harvesting. We could pinch some families from elsewhere, but as this is at 100%, let's harvest it early and get that done. And if we have a quick check of fertility, yeah, we're fully green on this one now, which is absolutely perfect. So clearly any changes they've made to the farming has worked, because I think there was some fertility issues. I think depends on the time of year. There was, I don't know the specifics of it, but there was some issues, but that has returned back to full fertility. So leaving that fallow for the season has definitely worked as intended. So we've got those families in there. Do I need... how are we doing for planks? We've still got a lot, but only 1 family in there. The Weaver's Workshop. We could take someone from there, but we don't particularly need to. We need someone in there. Okay. There's potentially some buildings we could pinch people from. Livestock trading post. I took someone out just because we were a little bit poor, so I didn't want to buy any more sheep while that was happening. The clay furnace, nope, we're done there. Bloomery, nope. I think. So the issue for me now, so when I think about spare families, when you have a level 2 building, they become artisans. I've paused this building. So what are those people doing? Nothing. Basically, they do absolutely nothing. This is a little bit frustrating, because they're not doing anything here, and they're not doing anything outside here either. They're just going to wait until I click that unpause button and say, okay, time to make some more bows, or whatever it is they decide to do as their artisan profession. That's a little bit annoying, so just something to bear in mind. See, now we've cleared most of this forest, we can actually see there is a significant area of potential farmland over here. Not that we've ever really struggled for fuel. Now that forest has been removed, we can clearly see there's definitely some potential land here for, well, wheat, basically, because flax, nope. Barley, no. Rye, we don't currently have the specialization for that, but yes, we could definitely make more wheat. So the question is, do I do that? We're not really struggling for food. 14 months. We're not in a bad place when it comes to that. Fuel is the main thing that sort of weirds me out a little bit. I could potentially relocate that over here as well when we make a bit of a forestry industry. I guess it'd probably make a bit of sense. And also, actually we don't trade firewood, do we? Just thinking about it, but everything is, as long as it's kind of close to this King's Road, because this is where most of our stuff happens. So yeah, that's something else to think about. I don't know if is this our road? Ah, it is. So I can actually remove that. Oh, can I not? No, I can't. That road must have already been there. Fair enough. I'll leave that be. How are we doing with malt house? Let's increase that to the highest. It's got 1 of 4 logs currently, or timber, and we have 34 timber, so that's not an issue. All of our mines are gone as well now. They're completely exhausted. So we don't have any people over there. So everyone is sort of just working within this area currently, and it's just a case of sitting back and waiting. We have 66 approval. I don't know if do we have any spare houses? They were building some. Yeah, so we have some vacant lots here, but obviously until that approval gets a little bit higher, I don't see any families moving in. Okay, looks like we're fully harvested here. They're just taking the wheat back to the farmhouse here, and we've switched the field to fallow. And then on this field, this is where I'm really going to miss not having the ox. At least it's not a huge field, but this one's now set for wheat, and they will plough that and do whatever they need to do. We did get an extra family just while I was watching, but just I felt best just to put them in here, just to get this sort of up and running, and then get it over and done with, I guess, until next year. So that's just going to work perfectly. Community oven, still only the one person. Let's see if you're obviously watching the last episode. Flour, there is no flour in here now. That's interesting. Is there any in the windmill? 36. What about the granary we have over here? There's a tiny bit, but I did tell them not to put it in there, but they'd already beat me to it. I was a little bit too slow. So it'll be interesting to see, once the farmhouse does what they do, and they turn this into grain, where will it end up? Will it stay there, or will they take it to the windmill? Well, the baker's certainly been busy. There's quite a few baskets of bread in that cart. So something's definitely working correctly there. That's quite promising. Let's have a quick nosy over at the baker's. I mean, I say baker's, community oven. Nothing stored inside, obviously. And we have no statistics. That still bugs me. You kind of play the game through a sort of a feeling as opposed to actual statistics that you can go off. Oh, we can see all the crops inside as well. Sometimes you just got to take a look, haven't you, and have a look what's going on, if I can get there properly. But they should now... They should work with that. Oh, in fact, they're not, because... Oh, malt house, perfect. They're now ploughing the field. I'm going to leave them be with that. I am going to pinch one of their families because we need somebody for our new malt house, which is here. Perfect. And we'll chuck them in. I don't think there's any other settings we need to worry about. Nope. But they're currently transporting, and hopefully they'll be bringing across the barley. Ooh, look at that. I wonder what the smell would be like. There's a brewery in the town that I live in, and obviously when I was a child, I used to be able to smell it when I was waiting for a bus to come home from school, and it was quite a pungent smell. It wasn't something that I liked particularly. There's also a baker's as well, and that does like, it's a really big brand company called McVitie's, but they have a bakery here, and if you're driving past there on the right day and the wind's blowing in your direction, the smell was beautiful. But it's, yeah, there's some interesting smells in this town. Let's say that. So I am wondering if this isn't, it's not a disgusting smell, but I'm assuming it's not a very pleasant smell. So when we get round to having smell, I feel like a malt house along with the tannery are potentially going to be buildings that you wouldn't want too close to any of your houses, or at least not downwind of anyway. Okay, so we also got our level 2 burgage block. Requirements not met. Oh, okay, so we can't upgrade. Oh no, we upgraded to level 2. Oh, it's not big enough. Oh, we made a mistake. I mean, I don't mind it being level 2, but it needs space in the back, doesn't it? In order for it to have... Oh dear me. Never mind, that's fine. So which one do we want to lose here? Because it has to be one of these buildings. Can't be you, but it could be you. Well, currently you have no backyard extension, so can we... Okay, so we'll upgrade you, and hopefully that will work. It's going to be interesting along here, because we might have some level 1, 2 and 3 burgage plots sort of mixed in together. It'll be interesting to see how that looks at the base of our manor here as well. I do want to do some more work with this. It's the planks, and there's always something else to do. You always need people to do something. So finding the time just to come here and do that, it's not something I've found yet, unfortunately. But I really want to get the... Is it called a portcullis? I think... Or is that the name of the gate that goes over the road? Maybe, but we need the fence or the wall. There is a name for it, and I can't think. I used to build them in Banished all the time, and you'd think I'd remember, but it's gone. I'm pretty sure the portcullis is the gate with the gate. The tower with the gate in it. I think that's a portcullis. I could be wrong. Or is it the thing they shoot the arrows through in the side of the towers? My brain's completely gone. Okay, so I couldn't wait. I was correct. The portcullis is the gate, and the gatehouse, I guess you could call it, that goes over the road here, so that's what that would be called. I can't think what the little slits are called where they shoot their arrows from. Maybe someone can fill me in the comments. They always shout at the most inconvenient of times to these villagers. They're never happy as well. They're always moaning about something. You think they'd be relatively happy? I mean, 75% approval rate. I mean, I know it could be higher, but it's not awful, is it? Miserable people. Ooh, our tavern is complete. Perfect. Oh, look at this. It's suitably grungy, isn't it? It's just about right. I mean, there's nothing going on inside, but hey, it's here. We don't need anyone in here at the moment because this is just basically a building where people will come to drink ale. So we'll need someone to bring the ale into here, but other than that, we'll just have to sit there for the time being. Have we managed to produce any yet? Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Yep, we have some malt, but we have no brewery. Let's have a look. Is it under construction? So let's put that on the highest, because we are currently building a few burgage plots as well, I believe. Yes. And these are probably mostly empty. Some people are moving in, but that's working quite well. I'm tempted. I mean, how are we doing for carrots? Carrots, vegetables. One of these days, I will just call them vegetables first time out and I'll be happy with it. How are we doing for... what are we looking for? Eggs. Yeah. I don't know if eggs have been nerfed, but I feel like when I first sort of got into playing this, once it was released, eggs, I used to have such an abundance of eggs, but now, not so much. I just got to keep an eye on that. I don't want to go over the top. I mean, obviously food is fine. Fuel is still worrying me considerably. I have no clue why. Crafting, peddling. So only one person is currently doing anything. You're transporting, but what are you transporting? Let's have a watch. I'm impatient, so I shall speed it up a little bit. Hopefully you're... Yes, you're definitely carrying firewood. Yep, and that's exactly what it says. Now that's interesting. So he's going to carry that one bundle of firewood that whole way. This is not good. So this location to here is not great. And then we have the woodcutter's lodge. Interesting. Now obviously there's nobody in this building currently. But if they were producing it, the odds are it would go this way before it went that way. So this isn't working quite well enough. Which would explain why that's going down as opposed to up. We're not producing any more firewood. And it's taking so long for this firewood to go over here that it's being taken from here to be sold for and used for other things. Plus we also have the is it the malt house, I think? Yes. That is also going to take fuel from here as well. I wonder if we put it in there, because I can see just about the red line for the animals, so we're not bothering them, and it's sort of hidden by the trees. If we get it in a good position, and if we hook up the road like so, at least it's not as far, so we'll whack this up to the highest of priorities. I know I keep doing that with a lot of buildings. We'll also remove this because let's be honest, it's not particularly doing much for us, so that is now gone. Okay, we have our level 2 burgage plot here. We are now going to turn that into a brewery. Perfect. So we should probably, let me have a quick look. I'm not too sure where it stores, and I'm assuming it's going to be under crafting materials. Yes, 21 malt. Okay. I don't know if that turns into 21 ale, but we'll soon see. Now we have 2 malt in there. Perfect. Now, let's have a look at the trade for this. Okay, so we currently have 12. Target is 30. This is super expensive. We definitely need to consider the other territory we have over there, or the other region, because we could potentially sell that as well. So there's so many ways to make money, but I think the thing to remember is each region that you have, so I have 3 regions here, they're all separate from each other, so the wealth we have here is separate from here and here as well, so they all sort of work independently. You're overseeing the different regions, but they are within rights their own place. I need to look up if there was a historic name for the town that I live in and maybe change this one to that. Okay, so I just had a quick look at Manchester. So that's the city that I live in, and just looking at the etymology as where the name changed. So in 1086 it was Mamasiestri, or something to that effect, and then it changed to Mamusio before it later became Manchester. So Mamusio, I'm assuming that C is pronounced that way. I think that's actually quite a decent name. I think we'll go with that. And it basically means, the siesta part means Roman town, and the beginning part means like Brest-like hill, because we are on a bit of a sort of a hill here. So that works quite well. I think we'll go with that. I like that. And there we are, Mamusio. I like that. That's good. It's a little bit easier for me to pronounce as well, even if I am pronouncing it wrong. And just as we have that, the charcoal kiln is up and running. I'm just going to put one family and just see how they cope now it's so close. And it'll be interesting to see if that fuel does increase. I have a feeling as well that the brewery is probably going to need fuel as well, on top of what the people living there would already have. Well, there's an interesting message. Not enough treasury for the annual roll tax. I'm thinking, what? I've just paid that. What are you talking about? When I click on it, it takes me to a different region. So this region currently has no money, but if the roll tax is based upon how many citizens you have living, there's no families and no one here. So technically speaking, we don't owe anything to the king. And the same would go for over here. That's kind of interesting. It'll be... I have no clue what will happen. I believe in the future the king will come and sort of put armies on your land because you're refusing to pay, but at this stage I don't think anything happens. That is that's quite interesting. Okay, our forester's hut is complete, and I've got enough people to put in there, so I'll put someone in, and I say someone, families. And we'll stretch this right out. I don't see myself building any building sort of on this side, so we'll probably do something like, I don't want to build trees in here because I'm just thinking about where the wall would be. So if we bring that to something like, I'm just thinking the gate's roughly there, so we probably want to be somewhere there. Perfect. And hopefully they'll fill in that area. But obviously we're chopping here as it stands, but once they've planted over here, I can bring them back this way. So that's a job done. We can tick that off. Do we have our brewery? Where are we? Yes, we do. Right, let's slow the game down and take a look here. So, food stall. They've got 3 types of food. And I'm just wondering if that's, again, the markets. I have got the stalls here, but no one is on it. I can move, I think, stalls from there. Whoop, move around to here, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I probably need, because we have this this granary. I'm surprised not one of them has opened a store yet. It's kind of interesting. We do have food. Maybe they're too busy. Maybe it needs some more families in there, but we can look at that later on. So we now have this, which should mean it does take fuel, obviously. 2 ale. There we go. So they're already producing. Now, the only thing to do is to put someone in here. And the circle is complete. We should now have ale for people, hopefully. This 74% will increase, assuming we have enough ale to keep everybody quenched. I'm thinking this logging camp here, we may remove, because we don't particularly need it over here. There's not a lot that we're going to be doing. Is there anyone working there currently? No. So we shall remove you. The Woodcutter's Lodge. Is there a relocate button? There is. Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. So we could put that over here. So currently we have the charcoal burner here. I'm just going to be careful where they start uprooting trees, but they have this whole forest nearby. So if we give this a little bit of a rotate and see if we can find a nice spot like there, and we will hook that up to there. So it's all in a sort of the same space now. We have the large storage, the kiln, and the Woodcutter's Lodge very close to each other, so that hopefully will make it a little bit more efficient. And we have the foresters up here. I'm going to leave that there for the time being, just to fill in some of these gaps. Again, there's a lack of decorative tools, so having some trees here, there and everywhere will just add a little sprinkling of colour. As you can see, I think it was the first or second episode that I did. I wanted some trees here, and I've managed to just about squeeze a couple in. It's, you know, it's not magnificent, but it's something, and I quite like it. We have a road through here. I was just thinking, do we have a road around to our tavern? We currently have 1 ale. So now the question is, if we come to our level 2s, now there's no, when I'm looking at these, there's nothing for kind of us to say, oh, I need something. So does that mean? Yes, it does. They're finally happy, albeit they're missing some armor. I'm sure we're making those. Let me have a, where's the tailor shop? Resources needed. Linen. Okay. Are we making linen? Where's the building gone? Burgage plot weavers. What are we making in here? We are currently making yarn. Okay. Right, so that explains. I was just couldn't wrap my little brain around why we were not getting linen, but that's because we don't have flax. Right. We definitely need to think about moving over here. I think we're sort of too late in the year to get the fields in place, but we're getting to that point where that's the next sort of step, because the crops that we can produce there will supply more things for here that we need. Obviously, we have to trade backwards and forwards. We're going to be making the wooden parts to increase our funds as well, because yeah, our regional wealth is not great. I can see our approvals going up though. People are getting a little bit happier, so that's really good news. I think, yeah, we need to start taking advantage of this area, because we've not stalled, but we're kind of getting to that point where, well, if you want to get everything as it should be, yeah, we're not going to get there without that. We can't really go to a level 3, even if I had the coin to do it. We don't have all the clothes and things, and so yeah, that's definitely the next step. I was just taking a fly over the town and thinking, what's the next logical step? What do we need now? Well, to upgrade our burgage plots to level 3, we're going to need more clothing. So in order to do that, we need more fertile land, which means we need to expand into our next region. Now, we have already started the process over here for making the wooden parts. So we've got the trees, the logs. We definitely need to upgrade probably some of the burgage plots in this area to do that as well. So we have the capability of making those wooden parts. But we also need to make planks over here. So try and keep it all together. We probably would benefit as well from having a storehouse in this area. And then that will allow us to obviously get a little bit more money, which means I can potentially tax a bit more, which then realistically opens the door to adding another settlement. So if we look at the settlers camp, you can see it costs 250. Now that's 250 of the treasury, not the regional wealth, of which we have 0 currently. So that will require us to tax people in order to get it. So we really need to start to increase our regional wealth, especially now we've sort of satiated most of these people's needs, apart from over here. So I think the first thing that we'll build over here, just with that train of thought, is a storehouse. So we have the granary here. I think a storehouse would fit here quite nicely. We'll just give that a high priority, because that could bring some of those other materials over here as well. Because these guys have already been doing it. As you can see, we have ale, apple. We got a little bit of everything in here. They've just not got round to putting a marketplace. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Does this include the other markets? So this is saying, oh wow, look at all those icons. Tells me what everyone has in their house. Fuel, most people are using firewood. That makes sense. Clothing, most people have boots and leather by the looks of it. I've never really noticed that before. That is actually quite cool. But as you can see, the ones in red over here don't have what they need. Surely, is this exactly... Is it the same thing? Are they linked? They are. Ooh. That is interesting. So food variety 85%. 85%. But yet, these houses don't have access to the required goods because there's no market stalls. That is a little bit confusing. Well, I mean, it's not. I understand it, but if you were just at quick glance, you'd be like, oh, okay, we have what we need here, but technically, we have nothing. Unless dandelions count, but Yeah, that's interesting. We need to figure that out. You know, it's not very often I switch on the day-night cycle in this game, but I just felt like doing it for a change. And we have the sunrise, and look at the colours coming through those trees. How beautiful is that? That is, that is breathtaking. It's worth once in a while. I mean, just switching it on just to watch. One thing I'd like to see though, especially at night time, is if there's a little bit more light, whether it's just torches in the streets or just a flickering of lights from some of the buildings. I think some have a little bit of a glow, but nothing too much. I mean, obviously I know they didn't have electricity back then, but oh, that's just really nice. Anyway, what was I doing before that? So I've set up some more burgage plots here. This is going to be hopefully the burgage plot that we upgrade to be our joiner. So we obviously have a forester over here. We have our logging camp, saw pit, which is under construction right next door. So the resources from here will hopefully go there. And if not, hopefully this storehouse. So it's all sort of really close to each other. And then obviously we have the trading post down there. So hopefully we get to a point where we start getting some decent money. As you can see, 78%. I do think some of that unhappiness is due to these people not having all the goods they need. So I need to sort of wrap my head around why we're not getting any sort of marketplaces here. I don't know if it's something to do with these people. Oh, where's your market stall? Over here. Well, that's just useless. What happens, I wonder, if I remove some of this space? I'm going to bite the bullet and try it and see what happens. Okay, so just to confirm, there's no free space in either of these now. So hopefully, that there's bread and logs all over the floor here. But hopefully that's not going to cause too many issues. And with any luck, clothing stall under construction, file, there we go. So basically, because there was enough space over there, they were like, well, we don't need to put any market stalls here, so that has fixed that. We have water nearby as well. So hopefully now that will cheer these people up to the point where I can upgrade this building and get the wooden parts in place, which will then help the money, which will, yeah, okay, which will then allow us to make sure that we have enough money to go over there and really make a good go of it. But I think that's a good place to leave this one. So until next time, take care.